Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
I'm gonna blow your mind and I'm gonna twist your taste buds. The flavors are already coming together. I can feel them. Very lovely, very appetizing, very healthy. Remember, the way you see it, the way you like it, is the way you get it from my kitchen to your kitchen.
And the change of government won't stop a thing. I've run out of fingers counting the number of multinationals setting up here. What about the 3 companies that announced their plans to launch last week? I say they're shortly. Me, I'd be looking to sell. At what price? More. Much, much more. You're in the wrong job. Here, call me tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to hear more from you.
Are you ready for your big break? The East African, understanding the region.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
A very good morning to you. Thank you for watching us. It's another Monday, whether you're on air or online. We are so overjoyed that you are joining us today. Morning at NTV. We are here to kickstart. On which day, month and year did the Rwanda genocide start? On which day, month or year did the Rwanda genocide start? That is our question of the day. And if you're among the first 5 people to answer, the nursing burns after she got convulsions next to a fireplace, and security has been tightened at the Uganda-Busia border.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Security has been tightened at the Uganda-Kenya border in Busia to guard against threats of terrorist incursions through porous entry points. This comes on the heels of a spate of attacks in the neighboring country by Al-Shabaab insurgents. Police is relying on sniffer dogs to check.
The heightened security comes in the wake of a spate of terror attacks in the neighboring state.
This is aimed at ensuring that we are in charge of our security. We don't want to take chances.
However, the conduct of those supervising the operation leaves a lot to desire. The police have deployed sniffer dogs to monitor passenger luggage as terrorists continue to exploit loopholes to sneak in explosive materials. Security authorities are also keeping a keen eye on the porous entry points, which are used by smugglers but could be exploited by terrorists.
Resident district commissioners from across the country have this afternoon set off for the National Leadership Institute in Chankwanzi for a week-long retreat where they will undergo training. Barely before they left, the Minister for Presidency, Frank Tumwebaze, said RDCs should be at the forefront in fighting graft in the districts.
How are you? Resident district commissioners from across the country have this afternoon set off for the National Leadership Institute
and how to do it, but also the other side of the entire government.
Most of us are new in the offices and we don't know government programs, and one of our roles, like Article 203 of the Constitution, states our different roles. So we need to go and they train us on how we can monitor, supervise and manage all government programs in districts.
Yeah, it's important because we share experiences of how they're handling particular
the forefront in fighting graft at districts. The recently appointed resident district commissioners and some of those who are retained in their offices convened at the Kololo Independence Grounds shortly before they left for a week-long training. The Minister for...
They need to look at the RDC's office as the first point of defense in the anti-corruption struggle.
The minister also refuted claims that the RDCs are a source of supremacy battles and conflicts in the districts.
You are a commissioner from ministry X at the center. Why are you doing things in a sub-county without involving...
2 months after government reshuffled RDCs. The changes amongst government representatives at districts, according to insiders, was a well-calculated purge to strip the Prime Minister Amama Mbabazi of support at the grassroots.
An 18-year-old epileptic woman in Masaka district is nursing burns after falling near Asigiri. We have this report.
Javira Narwada is an 18-year-old who has had epilepsy. Narwada was left home alone with her 5-month-old baby after her father had gone for burial in the neighboring village. The young mother stepped out to prepare tea for her baby and
lost my consciousness. By the time my father returned, I was severely burnt.
By the time Narwada regained her consciousness, she had sustained first-degree burns on her head and the entire face. She was immediately taken to Masaka Regional Referral Hospital for medical attention.
When we reached hospital, she was given immediate treatment. We spent 1 month and 1 week in hospital.
Her father, Vincent Kalema, requested that Narwada be discharged to continue with treatment at home. She is currently getting treatment, although her pain continues to persist. After the baby's father disappeared.
Her mother died and I have to take care of her and her child, but I do not have any help since I do not work anymore.
Narwada's condition is clinically diagnosed as generalized tonic-clonic epilepsy. Medical workers say that the condition is caused by abnormal electronic discharge in the brain.
Messages are transmitted from one part of the brain to the other through structures that we call nerves. So when there's a problem in the transmission of this, in the way how this nerve functions, or is in a layman's language wired, and abnormal impulses, the first thing is to remove any dangerous objects that there might be. For example, if somebody is on a high bed, on a chair, make them lie down. Don't restrict. Medications for treating of epilepsy, you take them for a long time. Some people would get controlled, would get cured of epilepsy. But some people, at the end of that time, when they begin to remove the medication to reduce, the seizures come back again. So they might need to be on medication for the rest of their time.
Epilepsy is a neurological condition which affects the nervous system. The seizures may be related to a family injury or a family tendency. Experts also say that it can be caused by prolonged infections like syphilis, HIV, and tapeworms. Epilepsy can also be caused by head injuries due to accidents, alcohol abuse, and diseases such as meningitis and measles. Epileptic patients often get neuropsychological effects, including poor memory, and are prone to migraines, anxiety, and depression. Solomon Serwanja, NTV.
In our last series of Inside Agago District, Agnes Nandutu explores the area's unique features and the people's rich culture.
Agago district in northern Uganda has a spectacular view of rocks that are scattered around the area. The rocks have a lot of historical significance to the indigenous people. My curiosity was aroused by two unique rocks, the Akwang and Kalongo rocks. According to Acholi folklore, the Akwang rock is the place where all beautiful Acholi girls came from, and most men long to marry from this place. This is one of the songs that describes the beauty of Akwang Rock and its pretty girls.
When you come to Agago, of course, even right now, when you get to Paimol, you'll get beautiful ladies around.
The district also has the imposing Kalong Rock, located in the northwest part of Agago. It is believed to be a holy rock, and many Christians converge every 1st of January to praise and thank God for the gift of life. We woke up at 5 a.m. to explore Kalong Rock and experience its spiritual aura. With the help of our guides, we walked through the rough terrain of Kalongo. After 1.5 hours, we had walked about 4 kilometers, halfway the journey as the sun rose. At some point, the steep rocks forced some of us to crawl. We arrived at the apex of Kalong Rock at 8 a.m. This summit is protected by UPDF soldiers because it is a strategic place to keep monitoring the area's security. It is also the location where telecommunications companies and radio stations have their masts. Atop this rock, one has a thorough view of Kalong Town's scenery and its surrounding districts. And I can have a beautiful view of Agago district. I can look on the other side of Lira. This side there is Abim district, and this side there is Kitugum district. After climbing 8 kilometers to the top of this hill, I feel tired, but it was a worthwhile exercise. I'm now enjoying the breeze of this Kalong Rock. This is a potential tourist site, which authorities in Agago district haven't yet taken advantage of to earn foreign income. And one cannot speak about the beauty of Agago without mentioning the rich culture of its people. While here, we got an opportunity to be part of this cultural dance called the Rarakaraka. And I am told this is not only a dance, but a courtship dance where young girls dance looking for husbands. So let me dance hard. Probably I might win the heart of somebody here. In this courtship dance, young men who are of age attempt to select girls for marriage. And when a man picks on his chosen partner, the love relationship begins for a possible marriage. And I also won the heart of this man. This really winds up my stay in Agago district. And I have really enjoyed the culture of this place. Really? Agnes Nandutu, NTV, Agago district.
And wouldn't it be a joy for Morning at NTV to broadcast live from that rock in Agago district? Well, we'll now move to the Kampala Serena Hotel rooftop to find out what's making news in today's press.
It's slightly overcast over the rooftop of the Kampala Serena Hotel, like our friend Simon Kasate would say, who is not joining us this morning. Will be in for the big story later, but today definitely being one of the most important days in the history of the world, and particularly for Kigali, Rwanda. Close to 1 million people who lost their lives during the genocide in Rwanda. Joel, as usual, looking dapper in a red tie. Good morning, Joel.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm feeling very good.
Are you?
Yes.
It's interestingly cold this morning. Rarely do I feel this cold, but today, the rain is pounding. But regardless, we are here to make things happen.
Right. Obviously, your dress code kind of in touch with the day-to-day. What does the genocide mean for Rwandese and Ugandans?
We, of course, should. I hope we have learned lessons. I hope Rwandans have learned lessons. They seem to have learned lots of lessons. The media have played a great deal in making sure this is propagated. The cockroach gospel, kill them, etc., etc. The media played a great deal, and that goes a long way to show how the media can make or break a nation, for that matter. But yes, of course, we continue to commiserate with Rwandans. They seem to have moved on. They seem to be recuperating. However, I must say that it has not entirely happened as it should. Yeah,
Right.
You still see Rwandans talk about this. There's a semblance of this has not settled down real good. Some are still angry, and the government has got a lot to do. I must give Rwanda a lot of credit.
Do you think that the genocide actually made them stronger when all the dust was settled? Well, still a couple of people, and you can hear floating rumors that some people are still paying for their sins. But did it make this country smaller? I mean, stronger. It's a very small country, largely, and some of us here Ugandans are very scared that it may pass Uganda in a couple of years.
I'll tell you, the dust has not settled real good as it should. Rwandans today live in fear. They are gripped by fear. Two things. The Rwandan government has gone a long way in bettering that country. They've fought corruption a great deal. Systems are working in that country. I mean, you look at Rwanda, which has just recovered from a genocide, and you juxtapose it against Uganda, and you're thinking, what happened to us? These guys are way ahead of us. Yeah, they're doing real good.
Right.
But I'll tell you, the government has got a very firm grip on its citizenry, which is not a very good thing. Of course, they keep saying we must ensure the genocide does not happen again, but they live in ultimate fear, a lot of fear. I'll tell you, nearly among every 5 Rwandans you meet, 2 of them are spies. A friend of mine went there. Recently told me. It's a worrying situation there. I think a lot more still needs to be done. So that people do not live in fear. They've got to move on, as should be the case.
Right. Well, we'll continue to commiserate with the families and everyone in Rwanda, and I hope that you'll get past this time one day. Of course, France opting out of the celebrations to mark the genocide, but
after President Kagame said these guys were responsible, and I'll tell you, the international community many times is very hypocritical.
Yes,
these guys were being butchered, and they were just there doing little, if anything, at all. France, you know, the UN, we did have them down there, but they did nothing at all. When things became worse, they evacuated their troops.
And this is what I'm trying to understand, even up to this time. You know, France, evidently, people are killing each other, and they couldn't send people or men down to help out. And for us who have gone in Central African Republic, we're getting all these choppers.
Which have come how many years later?
Yeah, of course, but it still doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't you send choppers at the time when they were needed most?
I think they had chance to do something about it, but you know the way the international community operates. If it's not in their geopolitical interests, they'll do little, if anything, at all. So,
well, to those who are definitely Pan-Africans will agree with President Kagame that France was part of that. But we'll keep you updated. And of course, it's very raining heavily at the rooftop, but we promise you we'll be coming to you live no matter what. And that's what is happening. We're kind of sheltered. I hope it doesn't get into a storm very much. The headline on the Daily Monitor.
Daily Monitor, officer arrested over IGP's stolen tapes. You know the debacles that have been going on between the Prime Minister and His Excellency the President, the apparent rift, as investigations continue to go down, as people dig in their heels. Apparently, the IGP, who is supposed to be the securest of people, doesn't seem to have his property secured that much. So there we have it. Apparently, this person stole these tapes and took them to the Prime Minister's wife. This is a story that somebody calls one of those panorama kind of happenings. We wait to see how it continues to pan out. Nearly every day there's a new development.
Right. Well, of course, this weather being the highlight of the Kabaka's birthday run, 21 kilometers, and the headline on, of course, the picture on the Observer saying Prince Wasaja covers 21 kilometers in the Kabaka run. The fight to end Fistula, he looks very fit, very young. and since he's a father, definitely it was good for him. But I happened to be a part of the run.
Oh, did you run? Okay, people were actually asking us where we were at, and I was far away in some interesting place.
When it rains, you kind of...
Did you actually run the whole long haul?
No.
You ran up to what level?
I ran up to Kira Road Police Station.
Brian Murondo. Forgive Ziwa, Museveni tells Ayala MPs. Of course, Ayala MPs want Ziwa's head put on the chopping block. They accuse her of incompetence, of micromanaging the affairs at Ayala. She's a beleaguered lady. We wait to see how things pan out. Of course, we are saying, look, let's allow her finish her term because there's no guarantee that if she loses that seat, it will come to a Ugandan anyway.
Ziwa saying that she's just she's going through all this because she's a woman earlier, and we are thinking at the time when they were being voted in, did the MPs realize that she was a woman? Then isn't she using that as a scapegoat for maybe inefficiency?
I am a little bit hard-pressed to believe her when she says that she's suffering all this because she is a woman. I think it's because there were many undercurrents even towards her election as Ayala speaker. You know, Dorothy Biamukama was... Yes. I mean, this did not sound like music to her ears. So there were camps, and the reconciliation did not happen as it should have.
Right.
And the rift is still ongoing, and this seems to be the epitome of it. So it's really not because she's a woman.
Right.
It's because of the rift there is between her camp and then Dorothy Biamukama's camp. And they need to reconcile. They need to reconcile, so that work goes on.
Well, we'll wait to see what pans out in there. And this is something that has a story in the Observer that has really perturbed me. Government has many vacant positions.
It does. I saw that about for 35. Was it 35,000 or 3,500? I think 3,500.
Even if it is 1,000 positions, what makes it so hard to recruit people? Is it the experience? Is it the bureaucracy? Is it the corruption? You have to bribe someone to get a job?
I think it's a little bit of everything. There's a lot of bureaucracy. By the time somebody gets employed, they've got to, advertise in the papers, and then the entire process, go through this interview, etc., etc. By the time they zero down on who it should be, it is a very hard nut to crack. It's not like in private companies where if I think you'll do a good job, I'll call you up, we'll negotiate, you begin to work. So there's a lot of bureaucracy in government.
Joel, most companies, and there's of course, again, a rumor that government will advertise jobs for the sake of doing, because they have to follow the public procurement process. But they already have seen their people. So this process has to happen because it is a requirement by government.
Yes. Yeah, that happens a great deal. I mean, we see envelopes, we've heard of envelopes being exchanged here and there for one to get a job, which is very unfortunate. That means the best that can actually deliver on a certain job not get the job. Why? Because somebody has got an upper hand. Technical know-who instead of technical know-how, and the money exchanging hand. It's very unfortunate. We need to see our best getting into, we need to have a meritocracy. There's countries that have done that. Rwanda nearby here is doing that, albeit them having a couple of challenges. Another countries that we can look to, Singapore developed. Why? Because this guy determined this is going to be a meritocracy. We are going to recruit people based on merit, not based on I know you, we started together, you have got money. No. Can we have the most competent getting this government?
We have one of the highest unemployment rates in the world.
Yeah, we sure do.
And if government is lacking so many positions, having so many vacant positions, what does that say of government that is not willing to employ its population?
Two things, I think. For many of those positions, they are the kind that our youth do not qualify for. Because youth unemployment is up to about 80%. Well, different reports will give you different figures, but
between
about 80%. Let's put it that way. That's a very high figure. But you see, for most of these jobs, actually they keep on being re-advertised. Why? They don't get the people that qualify for it. But again, government needs to endeavor that they get people that excel and take them and sponsor them to go and study, and not just getting people who are relatives of this person and the other person. We need to ensure that we build a quality population. Ultimately, that's what is going to help us rid us of some of these happenings.
Well, the Cardinal Amara also there saying free things nurture corruption, and so the more you give your child, all these free things, it kind of cultivates a culture of not working, of always expecting that it's always going to come anyway. So let me relax.
And if parents are into the habit of bribing those your children, well, maybe bribery is a hard term sometimes. Sometimes you need to give an incentive, but true to the fact that bribery is killing us, corruption is eating us up a great deal. The last I checked, we were losing 500 billion Uganda shillings per annum. Now that's a report of about 2010. We are yet to see a new one. I'm sure we lose
the current one.
You know, trillions of shillings per annum to corruption, misappropriation, etc., etc. That money could go a long way in doing lots of things in this country. So we need to up our game. We need to make corruption a very risky business. Rwanda is doing it. In China, for example, they shoot you. Not here, they take you in and arrest this mania for 5 years and then the rest are left off the hook. We need to make it very risky for people to steal in this country.
Right. Well, we'll see as and when, of course, Joe alluding to the fact that the most popular, I guess, corruption scandal in Uganda of Kazinda is being probably going to be there for about 2.5 years. The other two will be for good behavior. But Joel, we had this conversation last week. The Deputy Chief Justice, Acting Chief Justice, Acting Deputy Chief Justice. Yes, too many titles. Being sued by Babali for failing to fix a hearing filed against the Vice President.
You know, the Acting Deputy Chief Justice and Acting Chief Justice is a beleaguered man, I want to think. In legal quarters, there's not many people that trust him.
Right.
I mean, even though he is a competent man, the fact that people do not trust him, because justice is not about dispensing justice, it should be seen to be dispensed, yeah? And if people do not trust you, if people think that you are very skewed, you're leaning toward a certain side. I mean, he served in the NRM government before, and many have always seen him as executing the NRM agenda, which is very unfortunate. I mean, we could say all the other judges, after all they're appointed by His Excellency the President, should have some yellow in them, but for most of them, you don't see it coming out. And for Justice Kavuma, I think he needs to do a lot more in seeing that, one, he builds his trust, that he is seen to execute judgment, not leaning towards one side. So he is a beleaguered man, I want to think. He has got time to remedy that, I think.
Right. Well, Justice Kavuma will find out as and when. Baba said that although the case was conferenced on May 20th, it has not been allocated judges for it to go to trial. I was also say about justice system not having enough judges. Well, that is for you to find out. Get yourself a copy of the Observer. Now, the picture of Museveni also making headlines, riding a bicycle, if you can have that on the screen right now. It's very Fuba.
You know, this is the way I learned to ride the bicycle. I was riding it and somebody was holding for me on the back. I don't know whether the president is learning. I want to believe he knows how to ride.
And the president, having grown up in Barada, surely has something to say about that. Do you know how to ride a bicycle?
I certainly do. I don't know if Kasiate knows how to ride a bicycle. How are you this morning?
Extremely very well. I came on a bike. That's why I'm joining you at this time.
So, what is it like riding? Did you ride it? You told the guy, you know what, I'm paying this.
I was doing a Lance Armstrong kind of thing. I do not play with me.
You don't do drugs, I hope.
Well, the president has started a door-to-door anti-poverty drive. Is this one of the ways you appeal to people by giving them things that they afford? A bicycle, chicken, seeds.
Yeah, if it's a door-to-door campaign and he's giving people things that they would want or possibly can afford as ways of mobility, I'm expecting him at my house. 5 church clothes, and please come with a G55 AMG.
They are giving away bicycles.
He's going on a door-to-door across the country. So here he was in villages where people, their biggest aspiration is a hero bicycle. Now, my dream car is a G55 AMG. Yours possibly is, a Malaysian Airlines kind of Boeing. So clearly.
Well, this is very interesting. And for me, I see this as the president reaching out to people. I don't know if our leaders, especially those in the opposition, have the ability to do some things. Like I've always said, this man can relate to the young people, the old people.
But doesn't it occur to you that this is already an election campaign underway? And that he is doing an election campaign underway using state resources, because these are not individual resources of President Museveni or his party, the NRM. These are obviously government projects, and this is, for me, this picture is what I always term as a masterstroke of PR genius. I mean, having a president riding a bike here in Uganda is as good as seeing Vladimir Putin without a shirt, whipping a horse in the Siberian desert.
Right.
I mean, clearly showing that you are macho and you're still able to rule this country. In other words, if you were to put this in Uganda, you'd say, enough stamina.
Well, just to put one or two things right, these bicycles were actually donated by the area MP at Yuda Tumwesije. But due to the fact that we see the president many times going out there, apparently fighting poverty, and that is why we see State House always having a supplementary budget. And this time round they're told about 202 billion shillings, and yet other key areas, health and education, are having a niggardly budget, you would say. I think we need to be more pragmatic. Give people a hand up other than a handout.
Right. Well, in this case, I do not know whether the people in here, this is not a hand up for them, because for the most part, many of them in area that Messages constituency, they rely largely on smallholder farming, and they need to transport their merchandise to the next market. So you give someone a bike like this one, you've helped him transport his 5 clusters of, 5 bunches of matoke or 7 bunches of matoke, which he previously would have to carry one by one to the market. So,
or precisely unable to use cars because the roads are bad. Build the roads, so that everybody benefits, other than 100 people that are getting bicycles anyhow.
Right. Well, of course, as Kasata usually says, these people, you can think they have paid the papers to be there every day. Now, this time focusing on Babazi youth who are saying they are defiant, even if it means dying, they will do it, so that their support for the man.
Yeah, that's clear. It shows you that there are some people who are there for others in more ways than one, and if these young people believe that it is worth dying for to propel Mbabazi presidency, so be it, because we've seen many people with that kind of fanatic conviction. But at the end of the day, you ask yourself, is it really the fact that they are being as persecuted as they claim to be? Is it an issue of political machinations left, right, and center? And let's also look at the numbers. We are looking at 3 youths. Luzinda, what's the other name? Then there's Modo. Who else?
Well, they say there are others that are not known. It's just that these ones are the ringleaders, if you like.
So we need them to drop for us the figures. How many are they? So that we know that they're a huge force to reckon with. Can we say that they have the whole NRM youth
backing up?
Maybe they do. That's why they're going through this kind of problems that they're going through. That the police has found them akin to terrorists. And that's why they're sending them to jail left, right, and center. So it's all playing out, and we can see that on the other hand, President Museveni is going out donating bicycles and campaigning. Then Mbabazi youth are here mobilizing. Yet the man himself has said he will never contest against President Museveni. This is a story that is going to keep on, ping-ponging for the next 1 or so many years until Mbabazi, for example, bites the bullet and says, you know what? This is it. Like how Dr. Kiza Besigye wrote that missive letter, leaked it out, and knew that his only way out was to declare his presidency. Let's not forget that Dr. Kiza Besigye also started playing those monkey games earlier. I remember one time when he showed up at Bulange with a bunch of hoes and other paraphernalia donating to the kingdom. By then he hadn't declared his interest to stand for the presidency. But those, I say, Abagasomera Mbarua, they could really see that this man was out for something big hooking. So let's wait and see.
And you see, the police needs to be very careful the way it treads on this line here. Because you see, ultimately, people should be led to think the way they want to think, to support whoever they want to support, But when you see, and especially, General Kalekezi has time and again been, he seems shocked. General Kaihura is Kalekezi. And
let's pronounce the name very well.
Kalekezi, Kalechiez. This man was barring me from talking about Zari. Apparently, I'm told her real name is Zaitun Chirigwaji. Yes, Zari.
Have you got people discuss something to do with this?
I saw this era. Era is to revise power tariffs, and the chief executive officer is saying he cannot say whether it's going to be a negative reduction or a positive reduction. And I'm thinking, okay. We are seeing a lot about this. You expect them to go higher? This is the man in the middle of things.
Well, Simon has promised a visit to the viewers.
Yes. When is that visit?
So it is on Friday. Those of you who sent in your tweets, we thank you very much. We've taken a log of you. And those of you who still want to join this group of people, I still have about 10 vacancies left for those of us who will go to Jinja and exactly understand how electricity is generated. Who knows, somebody else will take you to see how it is transmitted, and then someone should invite you to see how it is distributed. But for me, mine is to ensure that you see how it's generated and what kind of circumstance the generation is.
Someone should take me to see how they come up with the tariffs.
Well, this is what one of the ways which I invited you for here. You were here, Mr. Mulondo, and I invited you, and you poured cold water on this initiative. I said, come.
What initiative, Simon?
There was a public hearing not so long ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the one that was why are you putting the public hearings in high-end hotels? The people, majority of the people that consume.
No, Brian, I want us to stop being demagogic. Only about between 8 and 12% of Ugandans
use power.
Yeah, but you see, our aim should be that 100% of Ugandans use power. That should be our target.
Without
our target.
Yeah,
you know,
I've heard you
just
made,
like poverty is what levels? Should we get excited and be like, you know what? After all, even Jesus said, the poor you'll have with you always.
Simon's argument is that at one point we must separate that.
I'm not sure.
There are people who cannot afford.
Our target should be: can we try and make it as much as possible?
My problem with Ugandans is that averse way of being impervious to anyone telling you sense. Someone is trying to explain to you a situation and you are busy wallowing in your own prejudices and ignorances. You don't want to calm down and listen to the informed person to inform you.
We are not ignorant of the fact that Ugandans cannot afford power, but you see what we are saying is we should not get onto a high horse and say, you know what, there also you cannot afford power, so sort yourselves out.
No. And Joel. If there were issues going on at Spear Motors, to what concern is a guy driving a that
is Spear Motors. Not everybody needs that.
Listen to me.
But power is
listen.
Not everybody needs
Every Ugandan needs to move from one place to another. How they move there is an issue of affordability. We all need lights. The way you light up yourself.
We all don't need Mercedes.
All right. I told you simple and clear. So you can wallow in your ignorance. It is okay. Have a time.
Let's put a cap.
But you must always learn to listen
grab a copy
to people
of,
who have got information.
Educate you. Simon Kasiate.
Thank you very much.
Yes, grab a copy of the Observer Daily Monitor, and you know when Simon is in the place, he's in the place.
Well, we'll be coming in with the big story this morning. We are looking at one question. Do you have it? Oh, the national ID.
Yeah, but yours is blank.
Exactly my point. We'll be right back with the big story.
Every idea we have begins with you. The way you connect.
Good morning.
How you browse. How you share. And how you interact with the world around you.
Your relationship with your God is the most important thing. Have a company of people who have got a similar mindset. How do you want people to think, feel, and act after your talk? In other words, what's your objective?
You inspire everything. Because in the end, innovation doesn't really matter unless it does something that really matters to you. And we are HTC.
What's that?
That document.
Oh, that. Just some business.
I came to apologize. I have no right to interfere in your lives.
I've eliminated the only evidence that links me to Ivan Chinawa's death.
But you didn't have to kill another person.
It's not like I've got anything to hide, Nene. Just go ahead.
Victoria, how is it like to work for Miles Filagazi?
Blood seemed to matter not.
Blood?
Yeah, blood.
I'm responsible for your father's death.
Asimwe, you're drunk. Okay, don't worry. Sentence what them caught you. Sentence. So what him? Someone at the moment. Hani kutamu. Nkuunyirira gwanze nja kukuba. Tonna bakusasula myezi ebiri gya nyumba gye batubanja. Oli mukunywa mwenge n'abakazi.
Kikulu nnyo fe abeewola okumanya zi banka n'abatuwola engeri gye babalamu amagoba.
Lwaki obuuza ekibuuzo ekyo?
Sente zaabwe.
Dembe lyo ekyo kikulu nnyo okukimanya. Onfuna kikulu nnyo okusooka okunoonyereza tusobole okwetegereza n'okwekkaanya. Okifuna amagoba n'oluvannyuma tulondeko amagoba agasinzeeko okuba amatono.
Mr. Krabs, are you ready to party?
I like to move it. I like to move it. I like to move it. You like to move it.
Wow! Hello, fellow motor enthusiastics.
Oh, Mr. Krabs, isn't there any way for us to return all of them back to normal?
Hey! How'd he do that?
The Red Ranger's a bigger problem than I thought!
It's time to finish this thing up!
What can I do to make them love me again?
What are you drawing, Kitty?
Mega Rangers? Yeah! That's a mega win!
Hello?
King Julian, you are truly inspiring.
Ow! SpongeBob! Fantastic!
She was molested when she was 6 by someone she trusted.
The doctors finally walked into the door. They basically were telling me that she had a 5% chance of living.
I couldn't understand how somebody that tells you they loved you, that held you as a child, could abuse you.
Tommy Scott grew up among gang violence, drugs, and poverty in the projects of South Central Los Angeles.
I felt not normal, not good. I wasn't lovable.
As a teen, Melissa discovered that drinking gave some relief.
Tommy is free today and continues to tell people that it was Jesus who changed his life.
The time I spent in prison, I spent putting my ideas together on, how I was going to come back and make it all right.
And I realized my purpose, that I was created to reflect the glory of God.
Duke now realizes why God kept him alive.
These were real people facing desperate situations, just like you and me.
Jesus died to set you free, and he can give you a new heart.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat. Follow the beat. Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat. Follow the beat. Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat. Running out of airtime can happen to anyone. The next time you recharge, simply dial *161# to get going again.
On the next episode of Deception.
I told you I can tell when you like someone. Manage. But she just tell me about Namanyage come. Simanye.
My house, my company, and everything.
No, you're talking about me going to jail. That's what you're talking about.
How can a stranger walk into my house, look me in the eye?
Deception.
I say, simply dial *161# to get going again.
Irunji and Brian Mulondo.
Good morning at NTV. We now return to Simon for today's big story.
Coming to you from a rainy Monday morning, never mind the Monday blues, live from the rooftop of the Kampala Serena Hotel. All this that's been coming for many years before then, but at that point in March, we had a German company contract so sure about sexual orientation, but perhaps even that too, won't have a national ID to distinguish them from you, not have yours. Yet at the same time, we've had about 200 billion shillings sunk into this project, perhaps until after this discussion on the big story. We believe them when they said they would give us national IDs. They promised in 2010, they didn't deliver. They promised again a year later, they didn't deliver. They promised a year later. That's welcome to the big story.
Thank you very much.
Pamela Nkunda is the spokesperson of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. And Haji Abdul Nsubuga is the head
of IDs.
What makes you think that we will register between now and September and all of
There are so many lessons which we learned from the previous attempts. So we are very sure.
The previous attempts were not about Ugandans not showing
to give all Ugandans national IDs.
And if there are those who don't hit the call, what are you going to do to them?
Well,
your colleagues at the Uganda Communications Commission threatened us here disregistering our phones until we have them registered. And Ugandans did not hit that call. They came in piecemeal. Then a deadline was pushed forward and then pushed forward and then pushed forward. And as I speak today, some people have SIM cards that don't register. How sure are you, or what are you putting in place to ensure that Ugandans heed your call and come and have you registered?
Simon, moving forward, somebody who will not have a national ID will miss out on so many national services.
1.
Health services.
2.
Education.
3.
Transactions through the banks and the like. Yes.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to twist us, all of us?
It's a fact.
The reality.
Let's turn to Pamela, who is supposed to tell us the 9 things that we need to listen to. Pamela, the head of the Secretariat, is speaking in ones and zeros, hitting the policy statements in here. But you may wish to soothe us a little bit and inform us in more certain ways how sure you are that this time around you're not calling our bluff like you've done previously.
Like Haji said, there are very many lessons learned from the previous project. But I want to correct one impression, Simon, that you've given, that from the previous project there was nothing. The previous project
gave there was
us
nothing. There was 400.
Yeah, wait a minute. In 2010, government bought machines. Those machines were used during the 2010 elections. We are going to use some of those machines today as we speak. We've only done a kit upgrade. We had previous machines that were, for example, reading 1 finger at a time. We've upgraded this to at least 4 fingers at a time. 442 from the previous 1 at a time. This is progress.
Tremendous progress.
Oh yes.
But let's not forget that this whole project, ID project, has been dogged with a lot of controversy in the past. Beyond the mere lessons of having inferior technology, there was also issues with the procurement process, how the vendor came to be identified, and in fact we had the Inspectorate of Government saying there was a lot of no value for money in the procurement.
We've gone way past that.
Skeletons in the closet.
We've gone way past that with Mulbauer. Yes, we're still on with Mulbauer, and we've given them the terms and conditions, and I'm glad to report that these conditions have been met, and Mulbauer is doing as promised. And that come April 2014, this month, we are going to register, and that come September, there will be mass card issuance. So everything is now going as planned, and we've changed from just being implemented by DCIC. DCIC is the Directorate of Citizenship and Immigration, as a single agency to a multi-sectoral approach. This is the first, the different agencies that are ordinarily involved in citizen registration. For example, over the years, UBOS has been registering citizens for census purposes. DCIC Immigration,
Bureau,
exactly,
for death and birth.
And marriage and business and all that.
Electoral Commission.
Electoral Commission for electoral purposes. Now, government has realized that finally we can bring all these agencies to work together for one common cause. Now, this will save the citizen time and money to go and register over and over again. It will be so easy that in the near future, if you want to pick your driving permit, you don't have to sign here and sign there and bring your LC and all this. You just go and present your card.
Here, Pamela?
In the very, very near future, as early as 2015.
No.
Well, let's look about the threats that were made. That if you are unable, if you do not have a national ID, you'll miss out on certain key amenities like health, education. Well, let's not debate what kind of health anyway we are looking at in this country. But how are you going to be able to ensure that private health providers, who for the most part are driven by the desire to make money, will not treat patients who have no national ID? For them, they're looking out for money. What will make you think that I, Simon, as a private owner of a school, will not enroll a student whose parent doesn't have a national ID?
Simon, I think this is actually to their benefit. Today, there are so many schools or even universities who are charging Ugandans the same fee as foreigners. That's not right. A Ugandan should be paying differently from a foreigner. So in essence, the private sector will even earn more than they earn today. For example, if you went to Kenya, a Ugandan pays in dollars, whereas a Kenyan pays
but you see,
local currency.
Haji, for me, that is not even the issue I'm looking at here. I am looking at, one, there are two big issues that come out very strongly, especially for this project. One, government's continuous exhibition of incompetence to execute such huge projects.
Not anymore.
That's one. What are the assurances?
You finally have to come to terms with reality that government has learned. Even the very fact that they could change from a single agency to multi-sector agency, with all the bickering there's always been in government, to work together, this is a very, very big step forward.
Some cynics will say that putting it in a multi-sector platform is actually opening more doors for the piracy that takes place in this government, that we're going to see every agency running quickly to siphon or put their proposals into this blood bank and sucking the hell out of it.
You see, first I wanted to give you a practical example of one of the leaders of a school in Manafwa, who said, Manafwa High School, you've heard about it, who said he has Kenyan students who are paying in Ugandan shillings, but his own daughter was paying in dollars in Kenya. And he said, so this is real. I mean, the practicality of it is so real that we can no longer run away from this thing anymore.
Well, there's one thing of having an ID, and this I'm asking you, Haji, and then there's another having the other auxiliary services that are supposed to read it. I mean, these IDs just do not come only with information here. There must be some coded info. Anyway,
correct.
Yes.
Perhaps I need to go and ask you, tell us exactly what the national ID will look like. For us, we used our citizens' ID made of cardboard paper. You open, see, this is the exact true likeness of the holder of this card. What is it that you have on this card that we've not seen before?
A lot. One, first and foremost, this card is going to be machine readable. Two, it is
machine readable.
Yes, it is.
Meaning, Pamela, get you ready for an answer. Which machines where?
Meaning, the data which is on your card, which you're going to put on your card, will be read using a machine. You present your card, it's put in a machine, and all your data which is on the card will be readable at any moment, at any time where you are.
Right over there. Pamela, just hold it on here, Haji. Pamela, where are these machines to read the cards? For what?
Worldwide.
Countrywide.
Yes, countrywide and worldwide. We have the International Civil Authority Organization standards, ICAO standards. You must have heard about them.
Absolutely.
That your passport must be machine readable by 2015, and that is how we are moving. That your identity card must be machine readable by 2015, such that when you go abroad, wherever it is that you go, and you ask for identification, you don't fumble with whatever it is. You simply pull out your card, the pass-through machine, and that's it. So we're going everything, of course, if you're a criminal. So we're going towards the ICAO standards that will help Uganda and Ugandan citizens, not just even the Ugandan population, the country at large, across borders.
Let's not miss the fact that we have people watching us in hotel rooms in Rukunjiri, in Kumi, in Kabera Byongo, wherever it is in this country. Then we've got also ordinary citizens, you know, waking up to a rainy Monday morning and going to dig. They're asking themselves, okay, to what benefit? I, as a small little peasant somewhere in Bugangari, where I come from, for example.
That peasant wants to keep his money in a bank where it's safer. We had a very, very successful engagement with Uganda Bankers Association, the executive of the Uganda Bank Association, which brings together all the banks in Uganda. And they've given us their assurances, and we are going to a memorandum of understanding that by a certain time, you cannot open an account or transact bank services without that identity card.
Oh, that's very interesting. Yeah, because at first we had a financial card that always captured which mortgage you have in which bank, which loan you took from another bank. So are you going to merge this, or are you going to duplicate the role of financial cards?
No, we're not. But we're only saying that the best form of identification, you see, Uganda has been a very, very least banked country because of the lack of trust from the banks to Ugandans and vice versa. Exactly. Yes. So you don't even know who you're giving your money to.
You can't locate
them. So the interest rates are very, very high, you know, to cover the hidden cost.
And that's what hurts me, that those of us who possibly claim to be known are subjected to hideous background checks and huge interest rates.
And that's why we are here, Simon, to make life easy for us.
So you're saying that bank interest rates will go down, the price of fuel will go down, and all these things because of national ID?
Yes, because of use of this national identity card. It ceases to be my card, your card. It is our card as Ugandan. Something we should take pride in. Finally, have this thing going for us.
Today there's no way one can now claim to be Ugandan. There's no evidence.
What are you talking about, Haj? I'm sure you know my nationality very well.
I
can show you 4 generational graves lying somewhere within the territorial integrity of Uganda.
But you can fake that, Simon.
No, you cannot.
You can fake it.
Well, now, what is it that you're going to subject me to at that point of registration to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the guy that's actually at the table of registration is Simon Kasiati, a Ugandan?
We are putting in place a mechanism from the centers where we are going to register citizens, and a system whereby we shall vet you to be Ugandan or not a Ugandan.
What is that system? What is the vetting process like? Let's be very clear here.
We are putting a parish. We are going to be registering from the parishes. So at each parish, we are going to set up a parish citizenship committee.
Are you taking us back to our home parishes where we were born? Because to be very honest with you, where I live in Mbuya, I do not know that the LC1 chairperson knows me and can vouch that I've been living there for the 5 years I've spent there.
And that's why, Simon, it's very important. You made a mistake. When you go to a certain area, you must ordinarily go to the LC1 chairman and say,
which I did, and he passed on 2 years after I arrived. The next guy did not come to introduce himself to me.
But he gave you a paper or something to show that you are a resident of that area. Now, we are asking citizens to come with everything that can identify them as supporting documents, as citizens of Uganda. Now, these documents that we're asking for, baptism letter, letter of LC1, and all these things.
I could be Congolese and I'm baptized in Uganda. It doesn't matter.
These are only supporting documents to the claim that you're Ugandan.
So what is it that is the magic test of Ugandanese? What is it?
The different verification levels will definitely throw you out if you're not Ugandan. Nevertheless, there's something I want to make clear because the fact that there are cell phone hours saying not Ugandans don't register. We're not sending away anybody from the centers of registration. You know why? Because some people don't even know they're not Ugandan. You might have lived here for 30 years, 20 years, you think you're Ugandan, but according to the law, you are not Ugandan.
But you, so how can we trust that your mechanism of verification will be foolproof when you are the same ministry that is issuing out our treasured national passports to non-Ugandans, aliens of every sort, and they continue running roughshod and claiming to be criminals? You are the same people issuing ordinary people like Simon Kasiate diplomatic passports simply because he poses around as someone who works for the EU. Simon, how can we trust your competence this time around?
I'll quickly talk about immigration and he can go on. We've had a lot of public outcry from the public about passports, stolen passports, visas and all these things. There is renewed vigilance at immigration. We've heard about the probe to get into the deep of all these things, find out what it is and make sure that we treasure our passports. But like I said earlier, we are moving into the e-passport issuance by 2015. So cases of diplomatic passports being stolen, all this is coming to an end. We are lucky that leadership does play a role, and General Ronda has put in firm measures that are treating the... No, you're asking about this stolen passport, and I'm saying about sometimes leadership does play a role. And
no leadership. Talking about leadership, and you are the head of the international appointment. What is it that you guys are going to do to reassure us that you won't be like your mother ministry that for the most part has not been meeting the bill of issuing passports to the right people, or the right passports to the right people?
The onus is on you and me to prove that we're Uganda. This responsibility is not only for us at Internal Affairs. It is for all Ugandans. You are all responsible either to save this country or to stay it out.
Well,
so it's you, all of us are responsible. Hold on.
A burden on Ugandans
it
to
is
their own country when the people who lead it do not
hold on.
that area.
The teams which are putting at parishes are going to be composed of the people who know that area very well. We are not picking people from Kampala to come and verify citizens. It's the locals who are going to be given the responsibility to do this activity. So it's all about a responsibility.
Of course, Pamela and Haji here, you know, we Ugandans are always looking at the bottom line and the money bit. So we are looking at a huge rollout of registration. We are looking at a huge rollout of issuance and verification of citizens and eventually cards. So we're looking at the creation of jobs. How many jobs are we looking at creating here? What is your budget? What can a young man who is waiting to join university, maybe sometime in July, position themselves to be part of this team? I mean, what are the opportunities?
There are opportunities that were advertised in the papers. Our children, your brothers, my sisters, they applied in big numbers. And they're the ones who are manning this project right now. As citizenship verification officers, as IT officers, district and regional IT officers, as machine operators, as manual image enhancement officers. So in December, we put out a very big advert. They applied and the ones who are doing this. Nevertheless, the other agencies like UPDF, like police, like prisons, and other agencies have contributed human resource to this project. So we have lots of UPDF people there and lots of police there and all these other people pulling together to make sure that the cost is less because they don't earn a double salary to push forward this project together as it's a huge mountain.
16 years of age is the threshold for you to be able to earn yourself a Ugandan ID. What about
in phase one?
Okay.
We have two phases. Phase one, we are going to cover people who are 16 years and above. In phase two, we shall cover everybody.
Phase one is expected to end in 2015.
Yes.
When does phase two start?
July 2016. After the elections are gone through.
Also, you're preparing the first phase to ensure that it does indeed coincide with the electoral cycle. So with the national ID be my election ID.
Exactly, you're right.
And that's why we're targeting 16 years and above because in 2 years, 16 plus 2, 18.
Also, in other words, you are saying that if I have my card, a national ID issued, say, in my little parish in Mbuya, but yet I need to go and vote in Rujumbura for you, how am I going to play
That's okay.
How am I going to play
We are going to give you a form. On the form, you're going to tell us which is your preferred voting place.
This could vary according to different cycles. So am I going to keep issuing filling the form every...
No. We are going to have a database which you'll be able to update whenever you want to change. But for the first time, you're going to tell us that I prefer to vote from this area. So we shall pick this information, and then each team will be given a copy of whatever we are going to pick to go and do their mandate thereafter.
Haji, it's usual that when I have people who have such a huge Herculean responsibility on their shoulders and are promising loads of Candy Mountain treasures and goodies, I ask them to show as much commitment so that we can hold you to it. Haji, look at Ugandans in the face and tell them that soon after we have this issue that we'll not hear cases of, oh, this money was stolen, or the deadline has had to be extended because Haji was incompetent, he employed his sisters, his own cousins, that all Pamela here simply just did not know what she was talking about. She just lied to us and gave us lip service. I want some more assurance that mere words on this show.
Ugandans, we are out to deliver to you a national identity card, the first of this nature in this country. We are committed with the good governance, with the good processes. We are ready. We have the money. Everything which is required, we have it, Simon. So there is no room for error. We are ready this time to deliver this once and for all.
Pamela, is this guy telling the truth? Or I should have been asking him to tell me whether you're telling the truth.
Almost it is, and I should have also made this, that this project, this identity card project, we normally say it is non-partisan, non-sectarian, non-discriminative. It is a project for all Ugandans, 16 years and above, phase 1.
How are we going to divorce the politics of colors and all that in this whole thing?
That's
How will we divorce the fact that there are some communities in Uganda that for the most part are seen like Ugandan in the laws, in the books of law, but the neighbors don't feel they are Ugandan enough?
By the way, I should have said something about the form. This form is so detailed, very, very detailed.
That they're taking us through a whole 2 days process of filling 16 pages of form.
No, the 3 pages form.
It is 3 pages, but so detailed
Comprehensive.
to capture everything about you. And we'll ask you before we can actually sign off. Are you sure this is how you want your name to be written? Is this your mother? You said, is this your father? Everything's a place of residence such that when you finally sign off this form, that you're sure that all these particulars will come on your card the way you want them to be.
Well, we've had them waxing lyrical and promising us fireworks, so to speak. We've had cases in the past where my picture appears with the name of somebody else, especially for my voting card. We hope that this time round will be a bit different. Let's take it. When we return, it's Simon says. Well, I showed you earlier that mine is the blank one, yours is possibly non-existent, but I'm giving you the assurance that list that has been shared with us by the 2 officials from the Ministry of Internal Affairs and very specifically the head of the Secretariat Manning the National ID Project, that by 2015 end of that year, we'll have each one of us, as long as you are 16 years or will turn 16 for the next couple of months and above, every Ugandan will have a national ID. Of course, let's not miss our words here. Having a national ID gives you much more of a sense of belonging, first and foremost from a cosmetic point of view. But also there are very many local and international benefits that are yet to be accrued from this process. However, as always, we always have our tongue in cheek, given that our government has not known to deliver to the last key of such wonderfully crafted projects like this. They have promised that this is the first of its kind, and indeed, even the execution will be a first of its kind. We are hoping, and I'm saying we are hoping, and we will hold them to their word, that my picture appears with my rightly well-spelled name, and that I, being a Ugandan, will not be victimized at that registration table, that I, being a Ugandan, will be able to get a replacement of this card in case I lose it, or there is some force majeure, that I, as a Ugandan, will be able to enjoy the benefits of this card without being, moved left, right, and center. That I, as a Ugandan, in the spirit of the East African community, I'm able to move to another country without the need of a passport, because we saw presidents, Uhuru and Kagame, arrive in Uganda, enter this country by just swiping of their national IDs. Will this happen? Well, we can only wait and return to you in 2015. Guess what? We'll still be here doing the morning show every single day in that year and going forward. Whatever this wonderfully but overcast and rainy Monday morning takes you, make it profitable, keep warm, and of course, be the responsible citizen that you're always called upon to be. Have a good morning.
Basekeza. Basekeza ne mukoti yange. Siwajemu. Tawanya demo mwenge. Ngugeni. Hani kutamu. Utunyirira. Kwenzija kukuba. Tukanye zebinda nyumba jibatubanja. Oli mukuma mwenge nabakazi.
Kikulu nnyo abeewola okumanya zi banka n'abatuwola engeri gye babalamu amagoba.
Lwaki obuuza ekibuuzo ekyo?
Zaabwe.
Tembe ebyo ekyo kikulu nnyo okukimanya. Onfuna kikulu nnyo okusooka okunoonyereza tusobole okwetegereza n'okwekkaanya. Okifuna amagoba n'oluvannyuma tulondeko amagoba agasinzeeko okuba amatono.
The international team Uganda is the primary role of
Team Uganda is to remain Division 2.
That was the only thing that can make one or two of the fans smile, that because we are doing well.
The players are not put on the game faces. They're not the animals we saw last season, because Ferguson had the same group of players and they did deliver the Holy Grail, which is the title.
My whole command came from my back and back. How? Tugenda okukola kitu. Omanyi? Okuko nange omubiri gwegusembayo.
I went to the nurses and I asked why is it that our father is negative and for us to are positive?
Every time I find a story of assault of one person to another, I get disheartened. Mwayumbye ekyolwaleero tasuzeewo ne bakookeza. Nagekoza kimu kimujja wange yanjokeza. Kimusaafa kino kandi takirira muno mu lubuto. The Irene I know just loves music and loves to sing. I've never seen her even smoke a cigarette.
The days of legal trade in slaves are history, following its abolition in the 1800s.
They tie you like this. That's when I started getting past.
Everybody has a story, but yours will only become our story when you share it.
Oluvannyuma lwolutalo abaana bangi batwalibwa ab'ekika era abamu bajja ne babakima era bagende mu lukuula eyo natusongera mu buluuli bagende mu butale bagalaalo okubuuza omwana oyo mumanyi
mukwate obutonde obwekonkome mukwate obutonde bwa Ebola mubuteeke mu nsigo omuzungu ayogeze palamenti muyise basajja omulembe guno gutuusemu n'abantu n'entondo bale n'emyaka egy'entondo
waliwo yakiŋŋamba
bamugamba muŋŋambe bulungi kati munkwate empola
dokita buli akwata bayibuli ajja kusomera bintu nga ye bw'alowooza for example waliwo controversy yaliwo nakubeerako kimu
kubanga okusomeseza maze emyaka 2 tusomesa bannayuganda eddembe lyammwe mulimanyi oluusi n'obusobozi obulina
kulabira abaganda baagala kabaka
Running out of airtime can happen to anyone. The next time you recharge, simply dial *161# to get going again.
On the next episode of La Patrona.
Your girlfriend was murdered at the hand of a rapist. It says Inocencio Mercado's murderer is Police Chief Ramiro Chacon the Lizard. Here.
This is Lucha Vampa, my future husband. There's no reason for any of us to get blood on our hands. We'll watch them all fall.
There's only one who can serve justice. Whoever tries to take his place will go straight to hell.
Who are you talking about? God? God is just a bureaucrat who was on vacation when she was killed.
Don't say that, he can hear you.
La Patrona.
know that running out of airtime can happen to anyone. That's why we bring you Wetase. Simply dial *161# to get going again. Convenience changes with Orange. Today, changes with Orange.
You can bring everybody requirement as long as they can work up and vote for their nanny. As long as the voters exercise their rights to elect their leaders, there was no need for term limits in Uganda. I know him, I know how he operates, I know how he thinks.
There are ways you can go around.
Why should I conduct myself as if I am It's absolutely true. I admire the President Museveni. The ICC, the first code targeting African leaders, you cannot really mean that the whole trouble Kenya had revolved about only the individuals.
The money is not in the budget of this financial year.
You can't beat God. You see God is polygamous also. Look at Jeremiah chapter 31.
The security of this country will largely depend on the contribution that the people make.
kikulu nnyo abeewola okumanya zibanka n'abatuwola engeri gye babalamu amagoba
lwaki obuuza ekibuuzo gembeyo ekyo kikulu nnyo okukimanya onfuna kikulu nnyo okusooka okunoonyereza kisobole okwetegereza n'okwekkaanya okufuna amagoba n'oluvannyuma londeko amagoba agasinzeeko okuba amatono.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebiruji, and Brian Molondo.
Well, if it is your birthday today, happy birthday to you. You share your birthday with Russell Crowe, the New Zealand-born actor, who is famous for one of these quotes: "I'm destined to be attracted to those I cannot defeat." And I think that is something to inspire you, whether it's your birthday or not. You know, you have something in your horizon, go for it. We also have another message here from Stephen, saying he would like to wish birthday greetings to Jacqueline Lima Agwang. The message is, "May you light 1,001 candles," from Uncle Stephen Okwak. I don't know if that is actually a real name. But on to some of your messages this morning. Mark Jones said, "I really love this show. It starts my beautiful day. Thank you guys, and a big up to you all." Some of you trying to answer the question that we asked. And following our big story, Daryl Phillips says, "In a Uganda with 2 muftis, 2 4-9s, 2 currencies, 20 police uniforms, 2 oil agreements, legal and non-legal, let these people not threaten us that we won't be able to get services because of an ID." Junior James wishing us good morning, and Josephine saying, "Without IDs, Ugandans will not get health services." These guys must be joking. Now is when they remember these IDs after a long time of confusion. Is the government under pressure? Big up morning at NTV. And someone says that we are their daily inspiration, daily morning class. Great work, great inspiration, you people at morning at NTV. And to some more of your messages here, Flavia saying she's very excited. The guys look great during the press review. And Jingo Moses says, "Brian, it is not a rumor, like you said, it is common knowledge. That is how the jobs are won. And someone asking if Mr. Kasiate was not available because he resides in Whitewell. Simon, did he come in later on? And someone says, government guys give jobs to their relatives and you can't get a job when you're not putting something. Hashtag Kidogo. And the government has more vacant positions. Is there any other criteria that the government needs to follow in order to recruit? And Sejoji, charming Ronald says, error made an error in reducing power tariffs. Deducting the 1 shilling makes no difference at all. And earlier we had Pamela Ankunda, who is the PRO from the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and Brian says, I'm scared these internal affairs officials are hiring. They may create shortcomings to rig the 2016 elections. And Okeni Hope says, how do they ensure they are registering only Ugandans? How do they ensure they are registering only Ugandans? Feel free to go to our page, like our Facebook page, and post your question or comment there. Whatever you feel you want to tell us, do write to us. Morning at NTV. Brian will be coming with some of your tweets, and we now return to him for the HTC moment.
We started with the goal of bringing the power of computing into the hands of people around the world. From the beginning, we were designing many of the world's first touch and wireless handheld devices. Reaching out to our partners and setting no limits on innovation, we produced one of the most popular touch experience devices at the time. We were building smartphones before the term smartphone even existed. We then set out to make the most versatile smartphones, including ones that let you use either a touchscreen or a keyboard. We saw the potential of 3G early on and introduced the world's first 3G Windows mobile smartphone. We changed the way you use your fingers. Based on our research into gestures, we gave you the intuitive and easy-to-use HTC Touch. We then announced a new way for you to experience the internet with the world's first Google Android smartphone. To give you the most personal experiences, we introduced HTC Sense, a user experience that fundamentally changes the way you use your phone by making things work the way you expect them to. We once more revolutionized the industry by launching the world's first 4G Android smartphone. We integrated Beats Audio into our phones to deliver the most authentic sound experiences, enabling people to finally feel the music the way the artist intended. We created a one-of-a-kind phone with an amazing camera that outperforms most point-and-shoot varieties. Most recently, we once again set the industry ablaze with the new HTC One. Critics have hailed the new One with its full metal-body design, a live home screen, photos that come to life, and dual frontal speakers as the best Android phone of the year. Curiosity and ingenuity have defined our history, and we're recognized by the industry as one of the world's most innovative brands. We've come a long way, but one thing hasn't changed. It's people like you that inspire us to create the most innovative products in a world that becomes more connected every day.
Good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. Just joining us on the channel or online, youtube.com/NTV Uganda/live. The still at the rooftop, and we told you whether it rains or shines, we will be giving you an amazing morning experience. And later on, we'll show you of your life. And if you have a lot of money, or don't have money, or you have and you're thinking, what do I use this money for? We're looking at a low capital investment, and there are some very interesting guests in the studio who will be sharing with us some tidbits of investments. But before the break, we had officials from the National IDB project. It's been a huge debate, especially on this show. And whether you own one, Simon earlier presented an ID that was black, and for many of us, it is. probably a couple of people, including the president and the first lady in this country, have a national ID. And all you can say is for the other 3 million people, nothing is available yet. And so some of your comments, we have Pamela Ankunda, who is the spokesperson of the Interior Ministry, and I just quickly go through those messages. Bogore Manisuri says, regardless of the finding in the National ID project, those people have failed to make effective public awareness. And Arafat and Duga saying, I'm enjoying the show, guys. Joel saying, all right. Also, Simon Kasate gave you an opportunity to visit ESCOM Uganda, especially the Naluba Uganda. John Corey confirming your participation. TRP 40K Fred is saying we need massive awareness for the citizens to know the benefits of the national ID. Now, of course, some of the main things that Pamela and Haj Abdul talked about, like there will be non-partisan, non-sectarian, non-discriminatory identity cards. And agencies like UPDF and police forces to this project to make sure the cost is reduced. And remember that the money for this project has been increased. Why? Because the vast of the money that was spent was worth it. And so Pamela saying all these agencies have come together so that we don't have very many. But because of jobs will be created, we'll wait for that to happen. Of course, we promise you that we'll follow this story as and when it develops. Head over to our Twitter morning at NTV, and also comment. You can follow our assembly goal too at Kasiata, Joe Semini, and at Menekep. Of course, everyday life brought to you by HTC, quietly brilliant. Head over to the Forest Mall and grab yourself one of the models. I hold an HTC One Mark. I'm telling you, everywhere I go, people tell me, man, you need Java. That's a plot of land. When I'm trying to buy something, I hide this phone so that someone does not see it and say, guys, turn on me instead of 20,000 shillings. You know, people look at your phone, they're like, they don't know that you donate it. I can't afford it. But there also the other models like the HTC Desire 600, 300, 400. Go to the Forest Mall and grab yourself one. This week we'll also be giving out 2 more phones, and the last week we gave out those phones. We will very soon tell you put the big number from the HTC hub. Coming up is Everyday Life. Good morning.
It's the first thing you see in the morning, and the last thing you see at night. It stresses you out. It calms you down. It helps you remember. It helps you forget. It keeps you connected. It's the only thing you know that is always within an arm's reach. Which is why you don't need to get a phone. You need a phone that gets you, and you, and you, and we are HTC.
Everyday Life is brought to you by
We are HTC.
Now, lots of investment capital, the risk all investors worry about. But if you have some money, and especially with the unemployment rate in Uganda, among the youth, skyrocketed to about 80%, what can you use your money with? You're waiting for capital to amount up to about 50 million shillings. I have some very bad news for you. It will never get to that amount. Let's start with the small amount you have this morning. Joining me is Rosemary. The other name is Mutiamre. Good morning. Morning. Thank you. And then Mwami Ija Zinunula. Morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. You know you're very busy people, and thank you so much for asking. First of all, what exactly for our viewers do you do? Oh, in different things, but for purposes of today, I'm the managing director of a consulting unit called Iris Consulting and Training. We are Buganda Road, and we grow small and medium enterprises. Our byline is growing entrepreneurs that are well. That's what I do. Let me just mention that I'm growing a family business. We are growing a family business in real estate. So we do houses, houses for rent, houses for sale, and a couple of other things. But I think that is sufficing for today. All right. Yeah. Good.
I work with Enterprise Uganda, and I'm the director in charge of business advisory services. Enterprise Uganda is an institution that creates and nurtures small and medium businesses.
You're the people of the youth side.
Business. Related to yes, we are.
We're very privileged to have Mr. Ochichi on our first show here. And so we'll be talking about that later. Now, look at the investment is something that is, when someone says law, you're thinking of little money. But first of all, why do people fear to invest? They're waiting for the money to come up. Is it risky business to invest? Now, with all due respect, someone has said every problem is a knowledge problem. If you twist it round, it means that you fear, and that becomes a problem. You want to start and you don't start, and that becomes a problem because you're ignorant. You're ignorant of the relevance. But if you need to know the relevant things, you shouldn't fear. So many times we fail to take off because spending 1 million shillings is only 3 million shillings, largely because one may not realize that even with 1 million, even with 100,000, even with 50,000, you can actually start. And so what I would say is the fear. Usually the fear will come as a result of people not being convinced about what they should do, not knowing where they should go, and I normally put it in CDC. Conviction, decision, and commitment. Now, the stage of conviction, that's fact. You're going to do this, that guy you are. Small amount. If they could get convinced, once you take the decision, it will be done. But I think the biggest problem is that we fail to take off because we
that's only capital you need. And when you think capital, we think big. However, we know that to start a business, before even you think of capital, you need to have the idea.
I must say it's very, very important.
Yes, it is important, but I want to take it back to anything because they had the capital but didn't have the idea, didn't have the commitment, and the
purpose in the money. It's a question of coming from inside to access the money, which is outside. And so if you started from inside, even if you didn't have a coin, you'll be okay. But if you start with the money, even if you have a billion, you will sink. So I go back to that, and those very short, it is the inside, and the inside is made by that knowledge, that conviction, the idea that you have. Many people say, you see, my idea requires so much money, and so I wait until I put the money together, then I secure a loan, you try to look at different sources of income. How will I get the 10 million, the 50 million? Let me borrow some money, then I start.
And when you say that, that brings the idea of saving. Because the loans are there, isn't it? So the capital is there. For example, Brian, if you went to a bank, they probably would give you a loan based on your current, your job or something. However, and your chapter that you have, the HCC. However, there's what we call equity. So even for the bank to give you a loan, they will only give up to 60% of what you require. They expect the other 40% from you, and that's your equity. And so that takes us back to saving. One of the reasons why, I think it's a defeatist attitude to keep blaming lack of capital for failure to invest or to start a business. I think we need to look at ourselves, saving, because you need to save. You must have a stake in whatever you're going to do, isn't it? And so we need to acquire the discipline, the habit of saving. Today, that's a big challenge we have as a country. As a culture, our lifestyle usually doesn't allow us to save. And so you find that's probably the reason why people are not investing and not going into business thinking, I'll wait until somebody gives me money. But where is your contribution to that?
I have 20,000 shillings. You said you can start with even 50,000. What are some of the possible things that, there are low capital investments I can start and then go on the business later?
Now, we get many people coming into us, because yes, we have testimonies of entrepreneurs that have come through us, young people and even old people.
The other day I got a lady who started with 60,000 shillings, sold chicken on the road to people from Gulu, Arua, and now she has over 4,000 chicken.
Absolutely. And so we've had people come in and start with as little as 20,000. However, before you start with that 20,000, you need to have the right attitude. You have to have the right mindset and believe in starting small, because it's a problem we have here. Everyone thinks when we see this hotel, we think that it's started like this. Now, if you go back to the story of the humble beginnings, this person may have begun with maybe 20,000. And so yes, it starts with having the right attitude and the humility to start with 20,000. And now there's so many ideas that you can start with 20,000. We've had folk come in and say, now, Rosemary, I want to start business. I know somebody started with 20. Give me a business idea. That's not how we go about it. Because the business that you do must cut across certain inherent qualities that you have. What is your talent? What is your passion? What experience or skills do you have? So we fit in within that. But we have for starting with businesses like fruit selling, trading, like you said, poultry. A lot of trading can be done with 20 because then you multiply it over time. And then once you've built the required adequate capital, then you can invest in your dream business. And so the whole idea is start with the humble beginning, start with something that will take you to what your actual dream is. Now we fail to start because we think, I have this big dream, I want to start a hotel. And so I must save or borrow to get there. At Enterprise Uganda, the thinking is start small with what you have, but keep your eye on that goal, on your dream of the hotel.
I've had an opportunity before. Yes, and I was going to say that when I was in school, I used to make chapatis and get pocket money. I'd wake up at 4 a.m., do my thing, and then at 6, go to school and, of course, appear at school swaggerific, but at home I knew, and the business can go during that time. There's poultry. She mentioned fruit. She mentioned business. Last week, I was interacting with a young man who started with 2,000 shillings in vegetables. He bought vegetables and sorted them, cleaned them, and split them up. And went to this one and said, I'm selling these vegetables for 1,000, and went to that one and sold these vegetables for 1,000. Before he knew it, at the end of the day, he had 4,000 shillings. Now, it so happened that along the way, one of his clients asked him if he could also handle garbage. Because he went to the home, when the gate opened, there was garbage, and he said, they are supposed to take my garbage. Anyway, to cut it short, today, he's still in his vegetables, he's renting land, and he's supplying vegetables in town, in this town. And by the time he comes 9 o'clock every morning, he has made a clean at least 100,000. Wow. After costs. At the same time, because of his garden, he needed manure. And yet people are talking about garbage. So what he does is, every lorry that he sends to the refill, there will be sorting. So the plastic goes this way, the boys who help him with collecting the garbage take the plastics and resell them. The metals are taken out as scrap. The biodegradable, which is safe, goes to his garden. So he's in garbage, he is in vegetables, and he is in mowing, compound cleaning. But you see, he's got a degree, by the way. He's got a degree, and everybody says, but you've got a degree. Why are you doing this? Yes, exactly. So we go back to the question of that stage of being convinced and taking that decision. But once you've taken the decision, you, Brian, you may have the most beautiful wife in town, and you say, how will people hear that it's Brian who makes those chapatis? Yes. But if I like cooking, most of us will have a good work table at home, we'll have a cooker, we'll have a microwave. Every evening, 1 hour, do roll your chapatis. Pack them nicely, let them go to the supermarket. And that's Brian's chapati. What's wrong with it? So you might be earning your 5, 6, 10 million shillings with the media that you're working with, but in the meantime, supplementary income never hurts anybody, and the business can grow. So when you take it to the one who has less than 1 million, who has 50,000, I know of a lady who did juice for a very, very long time. Small jerrycans to Renzori Code, to this house. Yes. Today, I know she drives her own car, she's got her own house, and you know what? She would be at Nakasero at 5 in the morning. Well, that lady is my mother-in-law, so... Brian.
A young guy.
I know.
A young guy who was in MOB. He's since finished. 3 years ago, he came in for a program, and he was struggling. He was in first year, struggling to raise fees to keep him in school. And so, having gone through the training, he realized he had a talent. He could cut hair. And so all he did was sell his phone, buy a kit, and began doing mobile service at university. By the time he finished his third year, he had opened up two salons, because he's from Masaka, two barber shops in Masaka, and he has since expanded. He has about 7 of them in the western region. This is somebody who started with 50,000. So he sold his phone initially. So there's a sacrifice involved, and I think that's a price we fear to pay. for every good thing, there must be a sacrifice made. And so
is that what you call internal preparation? The external is capital.
Exactly. It is dealing with your ego, because we all have this ego, and many times society has shaped us such that there are certain things that we think are not for certain people. And so you need to prepare internally, get the humility, and just keep focused on what you're doing. Because later, when you today when you see him, nobody remembers that he started very humbly.
No one even knows he started.
Exactly.
Yes.
He's put on weight. He's employing about 20 or about 25 people.
May I mention yet another example? There is the gentleman who has made it big in the corporate world and has gotten out and has started business in a big way. And then something goes wrong, and they come back down low. The house that they live in is sold off, the business premises are sold off, and he's completely shattered. Something went wrong. Yeah. And at that stage, he's almost irredeemable, at least to himself. And then he walks in, and working together, you say, but what else do you have? Because you see, Brian, everybody does have something. And that's when he says, oh, actually, I have so many acres of land in such and such a place. But how can I go back there? Once every angle is looked at from the inside, surely if you don't go, what will happen? Would you rather this? Would you rather this? What about so-and-so who doesn't even have? And once they go back, in other words, start with the basics, with what you have. You may have been so high. You may be a corporate gentleman with so much and everything, but if you look, there are things that you have that are not related to your work, that are not related to what you do today, which actually are very useful. So this gentleman goes back, and 3-4 years later, he probably has one of the best dairy farms in his area. And so it becomes a question of asking ourselves, what is it? What is it that I want to do? Do I really want to do it? Acquiring the knowledge that it takes, go and be an intern somewhere. Walk 5 kilometers a day to work to go and give your hands free for somebody to let you work. And in fact, take it that they're doing you a favor. But in the meantime, you are acquiring the knowledge. Once you are very experienced with what you do, be it making chapatis, be it designing software, whatever it is, get that knowledge as much as possible. Secondly, ask yourself every day, do I really want to do it? Once you know, yes, I want to do it, you say, what can I start with? That question is simply impossible. What can I start with? Many people. And then thirdly, to whom does it matter? So if you say, but what will Brian say? What will Rosemary say? Before you know it, so ask yourself, to whom does it matter? And it is to you that it matters. I think Rich Charles was saying, Brian, even if you wear one pair of shoes, and people will still say that Brian doesn't change the shoe, but for you, you know your condition. Exactly. You know what you're going through. You represent part of government. Well, through Enterprise Uganda. We have an unemployment rate of 80% among the youth. And most of the youth are seated at home. They've searched for jobs in NTV. This morning, government saying, and we have lots of vacant positions. But obviously, people are not experienced enough to fill the positions. What, and I know I'm getting into this, which should not be a part of this, the youth capital venture. What happened? Yes. Are people getting money? People come to get money. What should be in place for us to get that money?
Yes, Brian, you rightly put that the youth unemployment challenge is real in this country, but not only in Uganda. I think the rest of sub-Saharan Africa. And government, like any other government, has a role to play. They have done their part. And so, again, the same thinking that capital is the biggest challenge. So government set aside some, I'm not so sure of the amount, about 25 billion shillings, and put it in 3 banks, commercial banks, DFCU Bank, Stanbic Bank, and Centenary Bank, for all lending to youth at fairly reasonable rates. Right. And so when the youth had this, so the money is there, sitting in this bank. So when the youth had this, they thought, as usual, because many of them think somebody owes them a living, isn't it? My problem today is because government hasn't done this. So government did its part and has put that. But beyond that, government has also set up a number of institutions, including Enterprise Uganda, that was initially set up as a project, the government of Uganda supported by UNDP, to give skills. So we've been in that business for 12 years now. But you still think, those who haven't been there will say, no, before I go there, I first need the money. And so we have the Youth Venture Capital Fund sitting in these 3 banks. And we've had youth running to the banks. There was excitement, especially in the last 2 years, when it was established in 2011. But what happened? The absorption rate has been so miserable. Why? Because the banks are in business and they're saying, yes, youth, come to me, but I need a business idea. 2, I need a guarantor. And those 2 have been a problem.
Those are very hard.
And then, of course, we need you to have a business idea, come to Enterprise Uganda. And so that's where we are. So the fund is there, but the youth who have come to Enterprise Uganda and humble themselves to start business, grow business, have been able to go and access this fund. But many of them are still out there saying, no, this is our money, it's our entitlement. And so the thinking needs to change. Exactly. So I think, really.
Sorry, Rosemary. May I just mention, let me just mention to the youth out there that actually the fund is working. It just so happens, being a mentor, it just so happens that I've ended up being a guarantor for one or two people. Right. And many times when you talk about a business plan, people tend to think of a very complicated document. No. Yeah. Among the people that I mentor to, there is a gentleman who is in events, as in facilitating events, chairs and tents. Very simple business, really. But all we do is we say, okay, this is what you're in. You're committed to it. What else do you need? I need a van to deliver. I need so many more tents. I need so many tables, so many chairs. And you say, all right, which one of these is the priority? You see, if I buy a van, but what will you deliver in the van? And eventually we say, all right, what do you think? He says, all right, I'll buy more chairs for now, and I'll continue renting the vehicle. So we put that in the cash flow projection. Once we do the projections, and we have the ideas, every time I call the bank manager to say, how is so-and-so performing? He says, no, super. He's doing very well. And so it's a question of the youth coming and finding somebody who can work with them to overcome their knowledge and attitude problem. And before you know it, the funds are there. Let me just say it here. I'm in private business. At Iris, as I said, growing entrepreneurs that grow well. But in all other businesses, I must be very honest that I think it's wrong. It's very wrong for anyone to say the government has given us money, let us go for it. If we do that, it means we'll never get out. What needs to happen is for someone to say, the government has availed the money, have I done my part? And what is your part? What Rosemary says. Get your business idea. Get your conviction. Do the simple projections, and before you know it, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, after 5 years, everybody will be talking about you. And even you may be able to contribute to the youth fund in that you are able to help someone else. This is good stuff, and I'm tempted to call you back next week. Let's wrap this up for now. For youth that want to invest, you don't have lots of money. Any words before we let you go?
Yes, for youth that want to invest, it starts with your idea, and I want to emphasize that. There are several institutions that help you get to understand, identify the idea, and then be able to turn it into an actual investment. And so come to Enterprise Uganda, for instance, and Iris Consulting, and many other, there are many institutions here. I think Moves as well, there's a claim. There are a number of institutions that are there to provide business support to youth that want to go into business. So start with the idea, because you need to have experience. For anything, whether it's a job or anything, you need experience. Even going to heaven, apparently, you need experience in doing good through Jesus. You get it? And so there is no way you can start, there's no way you can make it in life unless you're ready to start, to commit yourself and start something. So get the idea right, because one thing you need to know that, again, I want to go to the Bible. The Bible, in Exodus, when Moses asked God, what do I do as I go to Pharaoh? What do I use? And God said, what is that you have in your hand? So every youth out there, you have a rod in your hand. The question is, act on the road. You need to lift that road and strike your wealth, and you will be prosperous. But use people who have experience, like business support institutions like Enterprise Uganda, to help you unlock and tap that potential that you have in you and to drive you forth.
I'm going to call you next week. Thank you. I can promise you that. This is good stuff. I've also been procrastinating on something, but I'm telling you, after today, I'm going to strike that rock. Well, I don't know about you, but investing in a low capital fund will definitely provide you with a way to grow your assets slowly, yeah? Some of us have done some things that you'll never think we will have done. I've been a chapati maker before, have a wife who has sold juice before, and we are not there yet, but we have enough.
May I also say something to the corporate youth like yourself? Who at least have something, because we've been talking about those who don't have, the 20,000. But we also have many youth who earn about 1 million shillings a month and probably have a phone, have a car on lease or something. And today they are not thinking about the future. They are not thinking of investment. But Kiyosaki, if you've read the book of Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you don't need to depend on one income stream. You don't need to depend on your salary. open up other income streams, do other businesses. And so the message I want to send to those youth, you young person in the bank or in NTV seated right here, get together, get into the habit of doing things together. Form investment clubs. You start by saving together and then pool the resources and then together you invest. That's the fastest way of growing wealth. It also helps you to
another time we'll talk about investment clubs because young people have also started a lot of that. But you can check out Iris and Enterprise Uganda. Will also be posting contacts of the two guests on our Facebook page and Twitter. You can go and get some business tips over there. Isma, a very good morning to you. Manchester United seem to be back. The magic is finally back. Do you think they are likely to at least qualify for Europa?
Good morning. United now lie 6th in the league table, and one of their best performances came at the Sports Directorate on Saturday. Probably they don't want to play in the Europa League next season, so they are looking forward to that game against Bayern, with more importance than any of their league fixtures. But while they do that, their rivals back home here in Uganda have only won 3 of their last 11. That's the Arsenal, and they are slowly slipping and now fighting for 4th. Liverpool stayed top in England, and we'll also tell you about who won the ICC World 2020 and which 2 teams made it to the Bamburi Rugby Super Series when we get back from the break.
Well, let's take a breather. In exactly 1 minute, we will be right back with the sports update. Good morning.
Everyday Life was brought to you by...
And we are HTC.
The average age of the international team is under 18.
The primary role of Team Uganda is to remain to Division 2.
Probably that's the only thing that can make 1 or 2 rugby fans smile, that the clubs are doing well.
The players haven't put on they haven't wore the game faces. They're not the animals we saw last season, because Ferguson had the same group of players and he did deliver the Holy Grail, which is the title.
Mikwano gyaffe bana NTV ate naddala mu bannaamu muli gw'emizannyo gw'ebyemizannyo gukomyewo 2014 ate mutya kati ate gukyusiza n'obudde gwa 7 kitundu wali gwa 9 ne gugoberera ntusanyuka kati gubongereddeko wano malya g'ebyemisana awo osooke gubatayize gubaletire buli kintu kyonna kalonda erina ebyemizannyo omuli gw'ebyemizannyo mupya 2014 Isima waali alagira Argentina yenjo mukubira eddiba lye omukwano gujja kukomawo ku muli gw'emizannyo naye kasita kinatuuka eri bano ba Messi okulumba abalenzi baffe ba Thiago Silva awo tewali mukwano omuli gw'ebyemizannyo 2014 hezinte.
Running out of airtime can happen to anyone. The next time you recharge, simply dial *161# to get going again.
On the next episode of Deception.
I told you I can tell when you like someone. Manange. But she just tanga baina manyage kam. Simanye.
My house, my company, and everything.
No, you're talking about me going to jail. That's what you're talking about.
How can a stranger walk into my house, look me in the eyes and tell me,
we got to go.
So, tell me something. Not even a goodbye kiss for me.
Deception.
At Orange, we know that running out of airtime can happen to anyone. That's why we bring you Wetase. Simply dial *161# to get going again. Convenience changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us up to this time. It's awesome. You know, the guys are doing a great job. The floor is very slippery, so we're trying to, you know, get everyone set, whatever they need to be. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Pink.
Good morning.
All right, the new black.
The new black?
Yeah.
Is that supposed to be something? What pink is this? Baby pink,
I
hot
was
pink,
thinking
purple
baby
pink.
This is baby pink.
I think it's like a baby pink.
Isn't that supposed to be a diss? That's supposed to be a diss.
Yeah, okay. It's amazing the colors that women have. Some magenta, what. Maybe one day we'll talk about colors. But Isma, talking sport this morning, the Protectors and the Crocs are through to the finals. Were those the ones you expected to?
First of all, I think they're the ones I expected and the ones that every Ugandan fan would have loved to see get the Protector Super Series final. That is on Saturday. And also, they are the ones that everyone would love to see playing the Bamburi because they have the bulk of the best players, the ones that missed out on national team selection. Right. So when the Crocs went on and won their game on Saturday against the Magicians, 25-16, it was thanks to a very good start because they built quite a margin. We're leading by about 17-3 by halftime, and after that they just went and buried the result. So I think the two teams that got through were always bound to be the best two teams because they have the bulk of the Cobs and Heathens players which are the best two teams in Uganda and consistently outperform the rest. So I think a good thing going into the Bamburi Rugby Super Series next month. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sri Lanka beats India in the ICC 2020.
Is that what Isma was projecting?
No.
Not really.
Because I'm a fan. This is one moment when I become a fan. But not because I was totally skewed that India would win. I'm such a pessimist. Actually, you don't want me to be supporting the same team like you do. Because most times I don't think my team will win. I'm just I'm faint-hearted. One of my friends loves to call me faint-hearted for all the things I love. I love to see do well. But eventually, Sri Lanka, the moment they won the toss and inserted India to bat first, and India could only post 130. India had won all their games, but when they were only batting second. The moment they did that, for me, probably India's chances went right out of the window. And on a personal level, I'm so happy that to some extent Sri Lanka won because there are two players who had served the game so much, Mahela Jawadna and Kuma Sangakkara, but have not won anything beyond the Asia Cup. And then they came here. Sangakkara, of course, the toast of the final, scoring a half-century there to get Sri Lanka home as they went on and won for the first time since they won the 1996 Cricket World Cup. So I think for the neutral and for me, who loves sport entirely without having too much bias, it's got to be that Sri Lanka, for me, deserved champions. In that final, I think there was only one team that made an effort to play. And that's because India are not very good when they are posting scores and they bat fast. Only Virat Kohli came to the party with only 72 runs. The other guys all folded so meagerly that in the end, everyone should have been so happy to see Sangakkara and Mahela Jawadna celebrating at the end of the tournament. Awesome. The tournament, Bangladesh, at the start of it, the organization, there's a lot of problems with the traffic, with everything. I think over the 2-3 weeks that this tournament has been held, everyone goes home very happy. No major incidents, and it's only good that you can only discuss the cricket. That's when you know that the tournament went well.
Right. Well, quickly on basketball, Team Ikong winning FNL. What memories are we going to take away for the past 8 weeks?
I think for many of the people came in on Friday, they would have the memories of having to boo Good Life and the memories of having to cheer Irene Intale at the end of the tournament. It was
amazing, eh?
Yeah, it was amazing.
So
by the you guys,
Good Life?
I think they didn't like the music, but you guys at Kinetic
can't play.
Yeah,
let's go.
But you guys at Kinetic, fantastic job. No one in Ugandan sport has a product that Friday Night Lights have, where you have all these fans paying every Friday for 8 weeks and paying money, and they come in hordes every other Friday. The product these guys have, for me, is a hallmark of what else all the other sports can do.
Is it also, and you know, Kinetic, I know some of the people they work with some great stars. You know, if you see them, Boris, you know, they have amazing talent that they support. A product like FNL to be publicized by Kinetic, isn't it good for sport that this public, you know,
I think one of the things that Cedric Babu and his people at Kinetic have done so well is to strike a balance between entertainment and sport. Because elsewhere in the world, they've managed to do that. And something that has been lacking, I think, in Uganda sport. People think that I'll only come to watch and see the goals or see the baskets going. Now, that extra thing that you're going to give the new fan, And probably Kinetic are doing a job that FUBA should be doing.
Yes.
They're helping basketball recruit new fans. Year after year, they go on and recruit new people. Some of the fans who came there probably had no idea about what a three-point shot is 8 weeks ago. Now they do. So many, I think their perception of basketball has changed completely. So I think for me, like you said, it's a good thing, I think, for sport that someone went and sat down and organized something that is totally different from the ordinary sport we see. I remember 2 years ago when I was involved in the organization of the one-night stand for the rugby. It brought a lot of new fans. The name was a bit
I'm sure it brought a lot of fans.
at the rugby club. So it's that kind of concept that for me I'm skewed for. Seeing something extra more than
you know what, shout out to everyone at Kinetic. I know a friend, Evelyn Masala, who has been, blogging and about
the activation on social media.
Yeah,
is quite
very, very good. Kudos to you guys. Definitely need people like you in sport.
Lewis Hamilton not doing too well in Bahrain.
Doing too well. Exceptionally well.
Oh, okay. I thought he wasn't doing too well.
Yeah, because the two Mercedes were again on the podium. Lewis Hamilton coming in first, the second successive race that he's won, and then Nico Rosberg. I think for all the fans who were sitting in the stands, exactly what they wanted, because Formula 1 is skewed in a lot of team orders, and on this one occasion, the Mercedes team let their two drivers race till the end, because from right around the lap number 18, they had built a 34-second gap on the rest of the teams there. And to go and see them go at each other, Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg, wow. I wanted to be in between the cars. I wanted to just stand there and enjoy. I wanted to have that camera view just between the two cars, because they could have knocked one another on lap 18. They could have knocked one another on lap 50, the 52nd with 5 laps to go. But eventually, Hamilton coming out good. And 2 races in a row, he's won. He won in Malaysia, now he's won in Bahrain, with Nico Rosberg winning the opening race in Australia. So it's got to be about how soon before Mercedes are world champions, because it's looking like smooth sailing. All their drivers are doing so well, and all the other cars are doing so badly that even in a race where there were 2 safety cars that were called into the race, especially after the collision that Gutierrez had his car flip, do a bit of a backsummer, like we'll have to call it in primary school. And still, though he came out good, we used to call it backsummer. So when the car flipped, you'd have thought that, okay, in that kind of sense, the safety car would have given all the other cars a chance to get back into it. But Mercedes, I'm loving what they've done to this car. It's super fast, super reliable.
Okay.
Liverpool I honestly think these guys are taking it. Doing the same thing again at West Ham. What does this say about?
Let's talk about the refs first.
Okay. They've now won in 99. That's very important, I think, for Liverpool. You've got to say this is championship winning form. Then, like Brian said, I think they've got to start believing that they can win the league title. But then Mebo said something I think that is, for me, the worst thing I hate discussing about referees. First of all, I think the first Liverpool penalty was a stonewall penalty. James Tompkins handled the ball when Luis Suarez was going past him. Now, the West Ham equalizer for me has a bit of a problem too, because Andy Carroll did punch Simon Mignolet. Even if Simon Mignolet dropped the ball, I thought he should have been stronger in that kind of, when you're under that kind of pressure. Then the third one, I don't think that was a penalty, because Adrian clearly got to the ball before Flanagan, and I think was being a bit cheeky after getting to the ball. Then eventually his hand clipped a bit of Flanagan. That was a penalty. But I think for me, Liverpool winning games when they've not played well, I think that was a gritty performance. Take away the referee, I thought Liverpool were the better side on the day, and then they needed to just do enough to win the game. I thought that was a great performance. And that kind of performance that Liverpool have struggled to find this. So even in the season when they've done so well, when they don't go and blow away teams like they did against Tottenham last weekend by 4-0, they don't do the same when they don't struggle. The game against Southampton, they lost by 1-0. The games against Aston Villa, the game against West Bromwich Albion, the game against Everton. There are several games there that Liverpool, when they don't play well, they don't win. Now in this one, they just did enough. And this is what you've got to do when you're going to win a league title for the first time in 24 years.
You know, something that was bothering me reading this morning online, Wenger saying, we are going to struggle for 4th. Now, this is a story that Arsenal fans have had for so long, struggling for 4th, and now Everton has a game in hand, and just 1 point separates them, and Everton really played well on Saturday. But
yesterday,
what happened to Sunday?
Wow, the way, probably these are the kind of performance we struggle to explain. Only one team made an effort to win, and that was Everton. They were quicker, they deserved everything of that. They were more youthful. They looked like a game between under 18s and over 30s. because Arsenal looked extremely slow. They looked extremely slow out of the blocks, and eventually when Everton had to replace Leon Osman by Ross Barkley early in the first half, Arsenal just had no answers for the Everton team. And you've got to feel for Arsene Wenger in this moment. So the Arsenal fans, because not many people feel that Wenger cares about much. Many Arsenal fans don't feel that way. But this kind of performance,
I've thought once in a while, I think Wenger bets. So,
but this kind of performance, I think, goes down to, for me, it's a hallmark of what Everton have done well. They've now won 6 in a row. Probably the only reason why Arsenal could finish ahead of them is because Everton have the tougher running. Yeah. They have to play Man United and Man City. Like both those games at Goodison, where Everton have not lost a game. But then when Arsenal don't get this kind of performance, I wonder what the players tell one another. 9 of them showed up. Arsenal were pathetic to watch. Only the boys in blue were playing football. And this kind of days, you want to think that Everton deserve to finish 4th.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I want to switch to, to something more interesting. Arsenal is a different thing altogether. But Bayern Munich, their first loss in 53 games. What happened to the best in the business?
First of all, I thought Pep Guardiola changed the team too much. There wasn't Robben, there wasn't Ribery, there wasn't Mario Götze. He had 3 debutants in that side, including a left back who played as good as I could play if I was dressed in Bayern tomorrow. The left back was pathetic. They had so many changes because I think Bayern know the game they need to win is the one against United, which we talk about on Wednesday. So I don't think they had too much attention on this. But I think like every team, while several years down the road, we'll look at this and say Bayern, after they had 153 in a row, they lost at Augsburg. That's a start. I don't think it has any kind of effect on the team because
they already have the trophy.
They already have the league title in the bag. That's one. Then 2, the players who there isn't a mental scar on the Bayern players because the ones who will face Man United are not these ones. The Daniel Van Boyton, there is no he can even get close to the Allianz, and I'll probably watch the game on television like we will because it was very poor defensive and Javi Martinez. So I don't think Bayern will have that kind of effect. But I think it's the kind of result that the Bundesliga needed more often. They didn't get it for several weeks, and now they get it when Bayern already champions.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you can catch up with Isma and Lumansi and Alan later on Mumuli. And of course, tonight, Sports Bar coming to you live from the Club Silk at 10:30 p.m. Before we head out, of course, your African proverb. All right, Mabel, you're trying to look it up, eh?
I'm trying to look up the African proverb. When you cannot dance, you say the drum is bad. It's coming in from Ashanti.
That is in Ghana, eh?
Yes.
Is that the bad luck man quarrels?
Yeah, exactly.
When you cannot dance, you say that drum is bad. From
Ghana. That's a country where I know people get the chance to design their coffins before they die. If you have to be buried in an HTC, you tell the coffin maker to make an HTC coffin. I've seen one buried in a guitar. It's amazing, but they do cook up some.
Actually, a guitar would be a nice coffin, eh? Yeah. The legs just go
Okay, but when you can't dance, you call it a bad workman quarrels with history. So you've got to make good use of the things that are I think in your midst. You don't want to change the drum. When you don't like the namunjoroba, which is the small drum normally, when they put the big all of them together, then you don't say, I wish I had brought a big drum. That's, I think, finding every kind of excuse for everything every time.
Right. Well, this morning, make sure you don't blame choose. Go to work, concentrate, and I will catch you tomorrow for another exciting edition of Morning at NTV. Head over to our Facebook page, Morning at NTV, Twitter at Morning at NTV. You can follow us at MB Gold, at Mebkeb, at Daka Bachigong, at Joel Senyanyi. To all the guys that have worked this morning, in the rain, engineer Andrew, Ruyonga, Irene, Dorothy, and down at the studios, thank you guys so much. The rest of you, have a fantastic day. Hasta la vista, baby.
NTV, turning on your world.